Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I am your host, River Lee. I'm the founder of the Savvy Groomer, where I teach you guys how to go from broken, and burnt out to healthy, wealthy, and happy, building a grooming business that is on your terms. So, I am currently in a hotel room. Don't worry about if you guys see the whole background, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and start talking about today's topic. So, if for those of you guys that have never heard of creating a SMART goal, it is a specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goal. Now, every single, person does their goals differently, but I often talk about SMART goals, and I realize I actually have not done a live where I've really broken down what a SMART goal is. So let's start with S. S is for specific. Okay, so when we talk about a specific goal, what we really want to talk about is something specific, strategic, or significant. So basically, knowing what you will do and exactly how you're going to do it. This is not always easy, right? It's understanding, what do I want to accomplish? Why is the goal important? Who is involved? Where is it located? And which resources or limits are involved? Now, as we come to New Year's resolutions, this is going to be really important to know exactly what our goal is for goals. So oftentimes we're going to say, I want to lose weight. Or in my business, I want to make more money. Well, that's not a very specific goal. So think about, what do I want to accomplish? Why is this goal important? Who is involved? Where is it located? And what resources or limits are involved? Right? So be a little bit more specific in your goal. Now let's move on to the next letter, which is M. So that is for measurable, meaningful, and motivational. Okay? So think about having precise ways to measure. Now, this seems really simple and easy, but it's not always that simple. So your question is going to be how much, how many, and how will I know when it is accomplished? Again, let's go back to, I want to earn more money in my business. Now, that's not a very specific or a measurable goal. Maybe it's going to be, I want to earn $100,000 in 2022, right? So by knowing how much, I will know when it is officially measured and therefore achieved, right? So you often hear people say, I want to lose weight. Well, do you want to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds? By just saying weight, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. I want you to consider how you're going to measure that. Now, moving into our next letter, we have A for our SMART goals, which is attainable, achievable, and adjustable. Okay, so you want to think about being able to visualize your path. Again, that may not seem like a big deal until you start creating your goals, right? So, how can I accomplish this goal is the first question you ask yourself. And how realistic is the goal based on other constraints, such as financial factors? So let's say you are opening up your very first grooming business. You've never owned a grooming business. You are going to open the doors as of March 1st. And you're like, you know what? I really want to earn $100,000 this year. Well, we've already figured out how we can measure that, right? So for instance, you guys know I'm a numbers nerd. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up $100,000. And let's say instead of being open later, let's say we open in January for easy math. Okay. Actually, opening up in March is easier because that would be 10 months. So let's say $100,000 divided by 10 months. Well, that's about $10,000. So if I open a grooming salon with one groomer working 20 days, which is 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month, right? So it's 20 working days. That means that groomer needs to groom $500 a day. Is that realistic? Well, it depends on how much you're paying for, it depends on how much your grooms are. So for instance, let's say if I'm grooming 5 dogs or 5 cats at $100 a piece. Well, that's pretty easy. I would divide by that $500, right? Divided by 5 pets would be $100, which is how much my groom is. Or $500 divided by 5 pets, which would be $100 per pet. Now, let's say instead I am opening up the same grooming salon. I want to earn $100,000. I'm still going to be working 20 hours a week. 20 days a month. At $500 a day. But instead of charging $100 per pet, I'm going to charge $50. Well, that's 10. Am I realistically going to groom 10 pets at $50 per pet at $500 a day? Maybe, but is that really realistic? That's a lot. That's how you get burnt out. Melissa Hall is saying, in finding an employee, that one groomer you mentioned. Absolutely. So we want to make sure that it is in fact attainable. Now, our next letter is R. Relevant, realistic, and results. So basically, being able to visualize the results. Now, a lot of times people get confused on this, and I understand why, right? Because you're like, why does it matter? So this is where, with Savvy Groomer, I really want you to be aware of the season of life you're in. And you guys will hear that all the time. Does this seem worthwhile, right? If you are pregnant with your 5th child and this is your last baby and you're like, I really want to stay home with this baby, it's probably not the right time. If you are taking care of elderly parents and that's your priority, trying to increase your revenue to $100,000 a year may not be the right, time. It may not match your other efforts or needs in your personal life. We want to make sure that our personal and our business life really connect. And again, am I the right person to reach this goal? Sometimes you could have the opportunity, but it may not be right for you. On more than one occasion, I've had a fantastic idea, but I've had to sit back and go, okay, but is this right for me? Is this right for this time in my life? And sometimes it's not. Sometimes you need to accept the fact that even if it's a good idea, it's not a good idea for you. Right? And we also want to make sure, especially in this day and time, is it applicable to the current socioeconomic environment? In other words, is it achievable given the current financial environment? So this might be along the lines of, if you're like, okay, I want to work 3 days a week, I want to groom no more than 5 pets a day, and I want to earn $100,000. So I'm going to say, okay, let's go ahead and break down those numbers. So if that would be 10 working days, 3, 6, 9, 12. So 12 working days rather, a month. Okay, we're going to take $100,000. We're going to divide that, let's say, by 12 months, about $8,333. And I'm going to divide that per month based on 12 days, which is $695. And then from $695, I'm going to divide that by 5. Could you charge $140 per pet? Potentially. but realistically, are you? And that depends upon where you are in the socioeconomic area. Like, do you live in an area that can the market bear that price? Now, I personally believe that very rarely does the market actually show what it can bear. But it's important for you to really consider, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable telling people, okay, your dog, your Shih Tzu, your small breed dog is going to start at $140? And you may want to build up to that, but you may not feel comfortable yet in doing that. And it's not always that easy. Ashley is saying this is exactly what I need today. Awesome. I'm so glad when that happens, guys. I want to be aligned with what you need. So consider where you're at, how much money there is. And again, it's not always a straight line, guys. Sometimes, like in Rhode Island, I would say the average cat groom was like $85, and I was charging $200 for a lion cut. So just because other people don't have the balls to do something doesn't mean that you don't have the balls to do something. So let's move on to our last letter, and that is T. And T is for timely, trackable, and tangible. Okay. So what I want you to consider is having a timeline for achievement. Again, we want to make sure that this is exactly where you need to be, right? So it's got to be time bound, right? So when, what can I do 6 months from now? What can I do 6 weeks from now? What can I do today? We really want to break down, again, we've already figured it out, right? So let's go back. I'm going to pull up our thing. We've already figured out specific, strategic, and significant. We've made sure it's measurable, meaningful, and motivational. It's attainable, achievable, and adjustable. It's relevant, realistic, and we can figure out the results. So now let's actually create that timeline, right? So again, it's not always the easiest thing to do, because what you want to do is say something along the lines of, I want to earn more money, or I want to grow my business. These are not SMART goals. These are just kind of wishes, right? It's kind of like that guy that you talk to. He's like, oh, I want to open up a business. You're like, what kind of business? I don't know. I just want to open up a business. It's like, well, do you want to open up a grooming salon? Yes, I want to open up a grooming salon. Okay. When do you want to open up a grooming salon? I don't know. At some point. Well, how about in 2 years from now? Yes, I want to open up a grooming salon in 2 years. Okay, well, what do you need in order to open up that grooming salon in 2 years? And as we're asking these questions, we're really beginning to flesh this all out. And what I want you to do is, when you're doing these SMART goals, when you're creating these New Year's resolutions for your business or for your personal self, make sure they are SMART goals. Now, if you guys want to practice this some more, what I would love to do is go ahead on YouTube, put down what your goal is, and I will actually next week show you how to take an idea or a goal and turn it into a SMART goal. So I would love to be here. Like I said, if you guys are on YouTube, go ahead, put it in the comment section below, and I will actually next week go through on how to turn your goal into a SMART goal. Now, I may not know all your specifics. So what I would love for you guys to do, again, if you are watching this and you want to be a part of this for next week, this is how you remember it. Specific, knowing what you will do and how. Measurable, having precise ways to measure. Attainable, being able to visualize that path. Realistic, being able to visualize results. Having a timeline, right? It's got to be time bound. Having a timeline for these achievements. Candace is saying, love this. And Erin said, I took part in a great goal achievement workshop this month. This live was perfect. This is exactly what we need, guys. We need to start making sure that our goals are aligned. And one of the main things with Savvy Groomer is, just because you want to earn more money We want to make sure you're in a season of life that you are ready to either sacrifice or focus towards those things. It's not always cut and dry, guys. Sometimes it's kind of messy. For me, with Savvy Groomer, Savvy Groomer is in a great place to grow. But my sister's going to have a baby any day. And for Savvy Groomer right now, things are kind of on hold because my business is me. My business caters to my life. And if I want to be here and if I want to meet my nephew and I want to make that a priority, guess what? That's what my business is going to do. It's going to cater to me. And what I want to teach you guys is how to make your business cater to you. Ashley's saying I want to start my own mobile by next year. That's a great goal, but let's make that a SMART goal. Let's make sure that it is specific, measurable, attainable, relative, right, or realistic, and it's also time bound. So Ashley, consider all those informations. How much money do you need to start that mobile? When do you want to open the doors, or when do you want to put that down payment on that mobile? Right? Like all of these things. Yes, it's a little boy. She still has not come up with a name yet, but I'm really excited to meet him. She just went in for her ultrasound. I was supposed to be in Florida, but he's already 7 pounds. He's going to be here. Like, I would be shocked if she waits past the first. And I'm guessing it's going to be a C-section. I'm really excited for my sister. But, finding out that you're, 6 or 7 months pregnant, it's been a wild ride for her. But that's the thing, guys. My business allows me to do what I want in my life. And what I want to do is be the best auntie and be there to meet this little baby. Now, remember, my son's 10. And I want to be on the other end of that, and considering how traumatic my last pregnancy was and losing my daughters at 20 weeks, I know that there's, we talked about last week, we talked about these traumas and these childhood wounds. For me, making sure my sister's okay is really important to me. So, as much as I'm excited, I'm also nervous, but my business has to cater to me. So we're going to learn this. So Candace is saying my goal is to make a budget and learn to stick with it. That's a great goal, but again, let's make it a SMART goal. So I'm gonna let you guys post below. I'm not gonna go crazy this week. I know everyone's exhausted from the holidays and having Groomageddon. I will say that's the best thing about being a cat groomer is cat people don't care about getting their pet groomed before the holidays. If they're monthly clients, they're going to keep grooming. But it's not like they're rushing to get their cat groomed right before Christmas. So like I said, if you guys want me to work on helping you create this SMART goal, let's do that together. So next week, we're going to do practical applications on creating these SMART goals. If you guys would like to be live, I would love to do it with you. Because without your specific input, I'm going to just make some generalities and I'm going to show you examples of it. But if you would like to be here live, I'd love to help support you work on creating these to be SMART goals. All right, guys. Well, go enjoy your New Year's. Please relax. Please, take a break. I know how hard it's been for a lot of you guys. It's just that time of year. We're going to figure it out. It's all going to work out. So please go ahead and relax. I am going to do the same. I am going to honestly go finish up some small stuff. And then I am going to probably hit the hay. Okay, guys? But it was awesome being here with you. Thank you guys so much for being here live with me. I'm really excited next week to help you create some practical skill sets and practical ways of learning how to do SMART goals. And they're not easy. And even I sometimes struggle too. So don't feel bad. Sometimes I really go, oh man, I want this. And I have to go, wait a minute, let me take a step back and I have to go through my things. Because if I do not make it a SMART goal, I generally don't achieve it. Especially R is the hardest part for me because I have to go, oh, I really want this. And I go, wait a minute. Am I in a place to actually follow through? And that's really important. Give yourself some grace. If your goal is something really nice and big, this, audacious goal, like opening up your own business, that's a great goal. But let's make sure you can either afford a mobile unit or a down payment, right? Or have enough money in the bank to start that business. And I can't wait to work on everyone's goals next week. Hey, Shelly, love you, girl. Happy holidays. Yes, Quincy says Happy New Year's. I thank you, everyone, for being here. Happy New Year's. I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas or whatever it is that you celebrate. All right, so then I will see you next week where we're going to work on our SMART goals together. I hate the term New Year's resolution. I want you to create goals for the next at least quarter. Try to make a goal for the year, but at least the first 3 months. And I want you to remember one of the biggest aha moments I ever had, and I forget who said the quote, but they said we overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what we do in 10. If you had told me in 10 years I would open up and sell 2 grooming businesses, be an international speaker, that I would be teaching hundreds and hundreds of students in the grooming industry, I would have never believed you in a second. I'd be like, that's a lot to do in 10 years. So give yourself some grace, okay, guys? And really consider what 2022 has in store for you. And don't just make it big because you feel like you need to make it big. And don't make it small so you won't be disappointed. All right, guys, I want you to digest all of that, and I will be here for you next Monday. All right, guys, take it easy. Oh, Erin's right. She says, I don't like New Year's resolutions. I like new life adjustments. I love that, Erin. That is absolutely perfect. All right, everyone. Well, this is this show. And if you guys are interested in, right now we're not really selling anything. If you want to hop into the Price Increase Masterclass, to hop into our self-study, you're welcome to do that. We have new things coming down the line, but we're not really letting you guys know what those things are, because as they unfurl, you'll know about it. I promise. All right, guys, have a great day, and as always, happy grooming.